Wow, another amazing wild card weekend is coming up. This one saw three teams win on the road, but let's start with the main one, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles, of course, lost into the Windy City and survived against the Chicago Bears. Of course, the Bears had this crazy season, going 12-4, winning the North for the first time in 8 years. But it was all for naught when Cody Parkey missed uh, a potential game-winning, what potential was going to be game-winning 41-yard field goal with just 10 seconds left. It just it hit the upright, which has been the story of his whole season. A lot of those kicks have been hit that upright now, and that trend continued at the worst possible time. So Nick Foles and the defending champion Eagles survived, and now they are off to New Orleans. So now they're off to New Orleans. Instead of the NFC, we have to go to the one home team that won this last weekend, the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys survived against the Seahawks, who were victims of circumstances. Their kicker, poor Sebastian Janikowski, kind of got injured in the middle of the game, and that kind of forced them into 2-point conversions and using different kickers, to punt. And of course, the game. Of course, Seattle's chances ended when they actually kicked off the ball, which was very strange at the end. I don't know. It was a very strange end for Seattle, and the Cowboys got only their third playoff win since winning Super Bowl 30. Three playoff wins since then. Foles won. Foles won that many playoff games last year, including the Super Bowl, of course. But yeah, and for Dak Prescott, it's his first career playoff, but there's his second career playoff game. This is his first career playoff game, and with that, due to the Philadelphia, because of Philadelphia's victory that following day, the Cowboys are off to long land that we might need to see, um, and they will go up against the Rams. This should be a very interesting game because these are two teams who are pretty strong and each have a deadly running back. Gurley, Gurley for LA, Zeke for Dallas. That's going to be huge, very huge. In the AFC, the wild card weekend started with the Colts shocking the Texans. I don't know what the hell happened to Houston. It was just they just looked lost out there, and Indy was doing literally everything right, and because of that, the Colts got this. The Colts' big wild card victory puts them in Kansas City for the divisional playoff. And that game will kick off the divisional playoff on Saturday. Um, the Chargers, the Chargers won their Week 16 rematch with Baltimore. Baltimore was another team that lost. The Ravens just didn't happen at the start, but they kind of woke up a little bit in the second half. It was too little, too late. They came up short, lost the close game to the Chargers, and now the Chargers had to deal with Brady and company in New England. So, yeah, wild card weekend was pretty good. It had a lot of insane things. What will happen on wild card? What will happen for the divisional playoff? One thing I love about the divisional playoff is, well, it's the last bit of Saturday football of the season, and it's that last, and we see the bye teams the first time in the year's playoffs. We see how they do. Now the divisional playoff. Another thing about the divisional playoff is it's been a hotbed for upsets. It has. We've seen wild card upsets before, but the divisional playoff has been a hotbed of upsets, especially in this decade alone. I can think of some off the top of my head. Of course, the Packers were on the receiving end of a horrendous upset. The 15-1 Packers in 2011 ended up dismantled by a Giants team that went on to win the Super Bowl. This was in the 2011 season. Um, the Cowboys, well, what will happen before this decade? The Cowboys went on the receiving end of not one but two bad uh, uh, divisional playoff upsets. The Giants beat them in 2007 en route to the Super Bowl, and it was what it was 2 years ago, January 15th, that the top seeded Cowboys lost at home to the Packers thanks to a last-second field goal by Mason Crosby, and how even the Patriots were on the receiving end of a massive divisional playoff upset. Who can forget that 2010 season, the sixth-seeded New York Jets with Mark Sanchez, mind you, went into Foxborough and beat New England to reach the AFC Championship when they fell to the Steelers. So yeah, the divisional playoff, the Elite Eight in the NFL, it has been a magnet for huge, shocking playoff upsets. It's number one seeds. A lot of number one seeds have fallen in that divisional playoff. I've seen it happen. The question is, will it happen this year? Of course, the two number one seeds in the conference are Kansas City and New Orleans. Now, let's look at Kansas City. Kansas City has a terrible playoff history in the last quarter century. Since 1994, the Chiefs are 1-10 in the playoffs, and even worse for them, that one win was not at home; it was a road win. They can't win. They cannot win home playoff games. That trend continued last year when the Tennessee Titans of all teams had that comeback win against them. But yeah, they just can't seem to win at home in the playoffs. And even when they have the bye, or in this case, a home field, they had home field, but still lost in the divisional playoff. This is a team that has not been to the Super Bowl since Super Bowl IV. Super Bowl IV was the final Super Bowl played pre-merger. Back then, it was AFL versus NFL, and the Chiefs were in the AFL and beat the Vikings in Super Bowl IV. Since the 1970 merger, the Chiefs have not reached the Super Bowl. That is astounding. But this year, even with Patrick Mahomes doing everything right, I'll say it, he's been kicking ass. He has to deal with that playoff. He has to deal with that playoff stigma. He has to avoid being part of that long list of playoff disappointments for Kansas City. And they're playing against a red-hot Colts team. The Colts are red-hot. Meanwhile, let's go to the other number one team, the Saints. Now, the Saints have that high-powered offense. But they're playing against an Eagles team that has shocked the world last year. Nick Foles has had a knack for shocking people and pulling out these victories. And who's to say the divisional playoff against New Orleans won't be an exception? We'll see. We will see that Sunday. That's Sunday. That's what the Saints Eagles game is. The other two games, New England is Saints Eagles game. I said that on Sunday. As for the other two games, the Rams, the LA games, the Rams and the Cowboys. I think that's gonna be the best game. And like I said, because each team has a high-powered running back, Gurley and Zeke, and it's two young quarterbacks looking to really do something, make some noise in the playoffs. Because Goff got his first taste. Goff and the Rams got their first taste of playoffs last year. They didn't turn out. They lost that wild card game at home. They weren't really ready for prime time yet. Now they cut on. And of course, New England. As a devout Patriots hater, and there are a lot of us in society. We are waiting for that day where the Patriots just fall off and not make the Super Bowl. They have missed Super Bowls, but they've made the last two. This is the worst Patriots team in the Brady Belichick era. Yes, they went 11-5, but they have holes, quite a few holes. And Chargers, as good as a home team that the Patriots are, the Chargers are that dead weight outside of StubHub Center. They are counting Sunday. They are 8-1 this year on the road, 8-1, and that includes a win in Kansas City this season. So who's to say Rivers can't pull this out in one of the two unpenetrable fortresses of the NFL, being Gillette Stadium? Who's to say? Matter of fact, I'm just going to put out there. Here are my predictions for the divisional playoff. I'm just going to put out. The Colts one is kind of hard. I want to say the Colts win. You know what? I'm gonna say Colts because Kansas City has bad history, and especially with Andy Reid coaching. Colts, Rams, Chargers, Eagles. Those are my predictions. Those are my predictions. It is gonna be a repeat of Wild Card Weekend. 3 of the 4 road teams are gonna win. 3 of the 4 road teams are gonna win, and New England is gonna get beat. Watch. Both LA teams are gonna advance. Those are my predictions. Colts. Colts, Rams, Chargers, Eagles. Those are my predictions for divisional playoff. I will review the divisional playoff next week. So enjoy the rest of this playoffs and have a good afternoon.